Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Darker Side podcast. I am your host, Shannon Sakura. If you are new, welcome. And thanks for watching or listening, depending on what you're listening on or watching on. Um, and I apologize that I have not uploaded in quite a long time. There's a lot of things going on in my personal life, and I had some health issues I was dealing with. But now I'm hoping that I can get back to giving you guys a case every week. It probably will not be every Sunday. I might switch up my schedules a little bit. Like I said, there's still a lot going on. But I will try to get you guys a case every week. I have created a Patreon, so if you guys want to go over there and become a member, members will get the video earlier than when it goes live on other platforms. There will be some Q&As that I'll do. You guys can submit some questions and I want me to weigh in on something or you just want to know something. Once I get enough of those, I'll be doing um, a Q&A video. And then there'll be extra content for my Patreon members. And I'm working on getting some merch, so I will let you guys know when that goes live, when the merch store goes live. And yeah, so that is basically everything that is new. And let's get into today's case. So today I wanted to talk about the Watts family. There is a lot to unpack in this episode, so I'm sure y'all have heard of this case, and if you haven't, I just want to let you know that this is a very heart-wrenching case. It's probably one of the hardest cases I've had to do so far. Um, and so the Watts family consisted of Christopher Lee Watts and Shanann Catherine Watts. They had two daughters named Bella and Celeste. Chris's parents were named Sydney and Ronnie Watts, and Shanann's parents were named Frank and Sandra Resick. They both were from the Spring Lake area in North Carolina, and they um, moved to northern Colorado to an area called Frederick in 2012. They were married for 6 years, but had been together for 8 years, I believe. And Shanann was known to just be a kind and loving person. She was a great mom. She seemed really a hands-on mom. And the girls were just her life. Shanann met Chris on social media. He randomly sent her a friend request one day, and she decided to accept it. And Shanann said that when she met Chris, it was during a really hard time in her life. She was in a really dark place, and he supported her. And she said, even in a way, he saved her life. Shanann had a couple of health issues. She did have lupus. Now, if you guys don't know, lupus is an autoimmune disease. So her body's own immune system attacks its own tissues and organs. And having this disease, or even like a disease like this, it's not only weighing on you physically, it's also weighing on you mentally. Um, and it sounds like at this point in time, it was Shanann was just in a really um, bad place with both her physical and mental health. And Shanann was just totally in love with Chris. Shanann worked for a MLM company called Lavelle, also known as Thrive. She had quite a following and was constantly on social media. And she was promoting her business, putting personal things up on there. And from social media, their lives just seemed perfect. They had the perfect life. But as we all know, just because someone seems perfect on social media does not mean that their life is perfect by any means. Most times people place things on social media that, are just the positive, but you don't ever really see the negative. I know that there are content creators that are putting more of the real life stuff on social media, but it's still a very like positive, my life is perfect type of platform Not really. I mean, you get a fight with your husband, you're not gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I just got in this worst fight with my husband." You're not gonna post that up there. Usually you'll post things that make you look good, and that's just what everyone does. Um, and I'm going to play a clip of Shanann talking about her life and upcoming events from the summer of 2018. So here's that clip.
You don't want to say hi? Um, so I just wanted to come on here live. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. So Saturday's here. I don't even know what time it is. It's 8:30 here in Colorado. And I love waking up now on Saturdays and being able to enjoy my family. We never have to... See, careful, Cece. We never have to really... we never have it determined where we're going. No plans, really. Summer's coming. Summer's coming, and we're super excited. Bella, come here for a second, baby. We're really excited for summer because so much goes on in the summer here in Colorado. There's concerts every weekend, Friday, Saturday nights. There's always some kind of concert going on, and get together with friends, cookouts, and just enjoying life. And I'm really excited this summer because some of the amazing things that go on the weekends were when I was working for a company where I had to be in every weekends because that's the demand. The demands were always the weekends, so I needed more help. So I feel really blessed this summer. I'm going to San Diego with Chris. We're going June 22nd through the 26th. No, the 26th we come home at 1:30 in the morning. And then the 26th, that afternoon at 5:30 at night, Bella, Cece, and I and my dad are flying back to North Carolina for 6 weeks. 6 weeks we're going to be in North Carolina, Cece, right? And we're going to go spend time with our families and friends.
Yes, so that clip was from May, and Shanann was just really excited about the summer and trips that they had planned and things that they were gonna do. And she just seems such like a good person. Her kids are really, really cute, and she's just seems super happy about the future and things that were coming up. So then on June 11th, 2018, Shanann surprised Chris with the announcement that she is pregnant with their third child. And I will play that clip for you now.
We did it again. I like that shirt. Really?
Really?
That's awesome. So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know. Just the test.
That's awesome. Guess when you want to, it happens.
So, as you can see, Chris's reaction to Shanann being pregnant is really weird. It's kind of cringy. I mean, if he was, I mean, he already had two kids with her. I think he was trying to just make a joke, but the things that he said about the two pink lines being girls, and I think he really wanted a boy. But I don't know why he would think that it would come up pink or blue, depending on the gender, but okay. But yeah, it just seemed really cringy, and like he didn't want Shanann to be pregnant um, with their third, which is really weird. As we get into the story, you'll see that it's really weird how quickly he changed that. And there's probably a reason, not a good reason, but a reason why. And let's start talking about that. So at this point, um, it is believed that Chris had already started his affair with a coworker named Nicole Kessinger. Now, when Nicole came forward as the other woman during the investigation, which I'll get into more later about the investigation, she said that at first she did not know he was married, that he never wore a wedding ring. So he was just kind of playing like that single bachelor role at work. Um, this is according to Nicole. Oh, sorry, that was my cat. So then on June 17th, 2018, on or around that time, which is Father's Day, this is when Chris tells Nicole that he is married and he had kids, but they were in the process of separating, which at this point is just a lie. I mean, Shanann had just told him that they're pregnant with their third child, and obviously Shanann had no idea what was going on with Chris and any of these things. And then also on that day, Shanann writes a tribute to Chris, saying how blessed they are to have time to have him, and that because of him, she was brave enough to have number three. So, uh, when she says that she was brave enough to have number three, I believe that that has to do with the fact that she has lupus. And when you have lupus, pregnancy is considered a high risk. And there is a higher chance of miscarriage, stillbirths, and other serious health problems, not just for the baby, but also for the mom. Um, I mean, because lupus, your body literally attacks itself. So it's hard being pregnant and having a autoimmune disease. So on June 19th, 2018, Shanann uploads an ultrasound picture and says that Chris was the best dad us girls can ask for. Now, these posts, it seems like Shanann is still majorly in love with Chris. But like I said before, Chris had already started an affair. Now, in June 27th, 2018, Shanann leaves for a 5 to 6 week vacation with Bella and Celeste in North Carolina. And this was to see family and friends, as she mentioned in the video I posted that I clipped in before when she was talking about her summer vacation plans. Now, my understanding was Chris stayed home because he had to work, but planned on joining them for the last week of their trip. So on July 4th, we found out through the investigation that on this day, according to Nicole, she went to his house for the first time. She told police he invited her over to set up his diet and weight loss and exercise plans. He made lunch and then she ate and left. Now, according to Chris, on July 4th, he woke up at Nicole's to several missed calls from his phone from Shanann, sorry. He told Nicole that he needed to go home in case his wife called back. Nicole got mad because she realized that his wife is always going to come first and told Chris that they shouldn't see each other for the rest of the day, but later tells him to come back to her home. So I just think that that's really, really weird. Um, I don't know, if I was in Nicole's place, that would be a red flag for me. If you're separating, the only time that that person should that you per the person you're separating from should contact you is about the kids. So if they're really separating, like Nicole claims that he's saying that they are, then why can't he just answer the phone at Nicole's? It's, So yeah, like I was saying, sorry for the interruption. Um, yeah, so why can't he just answer the phone or call her back at Nicole's? It shouldn't matter that he's with somebody else if they're separated and getting divorced. Um, and the fact that Nicole got mad that his wife was always going to come first. Like, well, one, she should always come first. And two, it makes me think that Nicole knew way more than what she says she did. But anyway, July 7th was the first phone call logged between Chris and Nicole. And now tensions are starting to rise between Chris and Shanann. Um, at on July 10th, there are text messages exchanged between the two that is proof of this tension. Um, Shanann asks Chris if everything is okay, and Chris replies that he is sorry for being short, just work put a lot of responsibility on him. He um, he calls her affectionate names like Boo. He tells her he loves her to the moon and back. And Shanann said that she missed him and she felt like all he wants to do is work out and run. Now, Chris said running helps clear his head. That was the excuse that he would use. And Shanann didn't buy it and she just wished her husband would talk to her. On July 14th, Chris and Nicole go to a car museum and Shanann makes four unanswered calls to Chris. Now, at this point, the relationship seems to be pretty serious, Nicole's and Chris's relationship. And Chris and Nicole went to visit the um, the Great Sand Dunes National Park and spent a night at the campgrounds nearby. Um, And then Chris went to North Carolina, as I said, for the last week of their their visit there. Um, and before he left, he gave Nicole a love letter, and this was on July 30th. Now he gets to North Carolina, and the reunion between Shanann and Chris does not seem to be a happy one, according to the text messages. On August 4th, Shanann confides in her friend about a family situation that happened. Here's a little bit of background about Shanann and her in-laws. Shanann did not get along with her in-laws at all. They did not like her. One big thing is they felt like Shanann was isolating them from Chris when they moved to Colorado. I mean, I don't know the reason that they moved to Colorado, but I mean, a lot of people move, uh, leave states for jobs, things. So I don't think that it has to do anything with isolating him from his parents. I mean, it happens. People move. But back to the text messages. So Shanann sent her friend a copy of the text she sent to Chris. So it is accusing Chris of not standing up for their daughter after his parents exposed Celeste to nuts, which she is allergic to. And having a nut allergy, if you have a severe enough allergy to things like that, it could kill you. Like, this is nothing to play around with. And I would be pissed off too if um my child had an allergy and my the other parent was just okay with his parents bringing stuff around that could possibly kill her. Yeah, that would be really frustrating. So Chris said at this point he should have cut things off with Nicole and focused on his family after this happened. And it's like, yeah, you don't think that this was wrong in the first place? But according to the data that was recovered off his devices during the investigation, Nicole started looking for wedding dresses. So he is in North Carolina with his family, and Nicole is back in Colorado looking at wedding dresses. I mean, he must have been promising her that he was going to marry her or things like that. I mean, and they did go on a weekend getaway together but yeah, so she is looking for wedding dresses. Shanann is starting to question how Chris is acting, and she starts confiding in her friends with what's going on. Shanann tells her friends that Chris told her he is scared to death about having a third baby and he is happy with Bella and Celeste and doesn't want another baby. Well, too freaking bad. Which, according to the text messages, Chris is the one who wanted another baby in the first place. Later, he said that he did this because he thought it would help save our marriage. Babies do not save marriages. Shanann was also telling her friend, sorry, he has changed. She said, I don't know who he is. He doesn't touch me or kiss me all week except when I am trying to figure out what's wrong. On August 9th, I believe they were back in Colorado from North Carolina. And Shanann tells a friend Chris went to her ultrasound with her but was cold towards her. At this point, Shanann decided to cancel the baby's gender reveal party. And she also told her friends he refused to hold her, um, and she was not sleeping, and her eyes were just burning from crying so much. Shanann also confided in her friends that the thought of there possibly another woman did come up, but she did not think that Chris would be capable of cheating on her and doing something like that. And then also on August 9th, Shanann leaves for a business trip to Arizona. She told her friends that she and Chris had their best talk yet the night before they left. She also shared a letter she wrote to Chris, and she is planning on giving it to him when she got back. Now, on August 11th, Chris hires a babysitter, saying he is going to a baseball game with coworkers, but that was not true. Him and Nicole went out on a date to a sports bar called the Lazy Dog. Chris was concerned at this point that Shanann would find out because for some reason he had to use his debit card for their joint bank account, and he was scared that Shanann would see the charge on his card, well, on their account. And then August 12th, Shanann drafted a note that, like I said, she was planning on giving to Chris when she got home. And on August 13th, Shanann was seen getting dropped off by a friend on their home Ring security camera. So now this is where the terrible tragedy starts to unfold. This is the really heavy part of this. So I'm gonna take you through the original version of the story that Chris told, to go along with the police footage that I have, and then we'll talk about the actual events that took place. So again, according to Chris, Shanann came home and initiated sex. They went to bed, and between 4 and 5 a.m., they had an emotional discussion about Chris wanting to separate, which I think that's a terrible time to have that conversation. I mean, 4 to 5 a.m., if she came home and it was like, I think it was like 1 something in the morning, almost 2, and she's had maybe 2, 3 hours of sleep, if that, then you're gonna talk to her about wanting to separate. Yeah, of course it's gonna be an emotional. I mean, you're not even awake at that point. And then at 5:27 in the morning, Chris is spotted backing his truck up to the garage. He said he is loading his tools into the truck and left for work. Then Chris worked for a oil and gas company in Colorado called Anadarko, I think it is. Um, he told officials, or yeah, that his wife and daughters were in their beds when he left, and that Shanann planned on taking them to a friend's house that day. And I'll play the the clip. Well, okay, so before I play the clip, let me go into a little more. So on Tuesday, August 14th, 2018, at 1:40 p.m., the Frederick police were called to the house. Once her friend said she was worried about Shanann because she was not answering her calls or texts, and Shanann was very good with getting back to people. Her friend noticed that her car was still in the garage, which was a big red flag for her friend. And her friend texted Chris, and Chris came home from work. And then here's the clip of Chris pulling up to the house and meeting the officers and Shanann's friend.
Scott, how you doing?
How's it going?
So this is the only vehicle she would have?
Only one that, yeah.
She would drive? Okay.
That's me. Yeah. The neighbors went and checked his cameras and they said that a white car drove away at one. It was me though. That was me. I dropped her off.
That was the last action on my camera.
Okay. That's throughout the whole day, or?
Besides Chris leaving.
Well, yeah.
What about the, is there any way you can look for the day? During the daytime?
What? Frantic. The girls' car seats are in the car too. So if she left with the friend, she would have took the car seats.
I can go look if he doesn't find it.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Huh? Chris is in the house. We're standing outside of the police house. Can we go in the house?
We can.
I mean, that's up to him. It's his house. If you guys...
Nikki, I'm giving you permission to walk in my daughter's house.
Mind if I come in, Chris? Okay.
Get Madison to come.
You checked upstairs? She's not there? I just want to make sure she's not passed out somewhere. Is she diabetic?
So as you saw, the police were called. Um, and another really big red flag for her friend was that Shanann had missed a 10 o'clock doctor's appointment. And I believe that this was related to her pregnancy, and it was not like her. Shanann took her health very seriously. As I mentioned before, her having lupus and being pregnant, that'd be a high risk pregnancy. And her friend just knew that there was something wrong. So the police searched the house from room to room, and Shanann's purse and phone were still on the counter, which her friend also said that that was a big red flag. And then after the police went through the house, Chris told them that Shanann must have gone somewhere, and I will play that clip for you now.
Out of state?
Across country, North Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's not happening. She can play with it. It's cool. All the girls' blankies are gone. Their blankies they sleep with, they don't leave anywhere without them.
Good. Nothing else appears to be missing, though? Just
No.
stuff you'd take for a quick trip?
You can, you have full ring. Her phone.
Her phone's here?
Yeah.
Her phone's here.
Does she work?
Yeah, she works from
From
home.
home.
Oh, from home?
She works, this is her lifeline. So Okay, when that thing turns back on, it's gonna start blowing up. Oh yeah, trust me.
It was shut down.
She's in the flight.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it was originally on the propeller on the couch.
You know where pass goes?
I don't know where pass goes.
It used to be 2385, and now it's 6 digits.
It's the baby's due date.
1, 31, 8, 19.
What does she do for work?
She works a direct sales company called Drive.
How often does her blood sugar drop low?
Cassie, her friend in Arizona, said that that's the first time it's ever happened.
She normally has migraines, like a while ago, but she had them a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
Cassie's a nurse, so she figured it was because her blood pressure sugar was dropping.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't eating her normal that she normally eats. Like she takes a couple bites and so she was full.
Okay.
And she
She doesn't ever black out or have
No,
seizures or anything like
No,
that.
I mean, long time ago. She got in a car wreck, and I believe that's what happened. But Imitrex is something she takes for migraine. She took more Imitrex this last month than she ever had before, but that's just because she was in North Carolina with the humidity and everything like that. She was there for 6 weeks, and we got back Monday or Tuesday, and then she flew out to Arizona Friday morning, and then she got back last night about 2 a.m. The flight got delayed. She left about 11. She got here at 2.
Okay.
And I went to work this morning about 5:15, 5:30.
What do you do?
I work at oil and gas in Anadarko,
What do you do for them?
operator.
Long days then?
Yeah, I'd definitely still be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a long day, especially in that heat. There's no like off text messages unless
Can you look at your camera to see from your security system to see when she left?
it's us who left out the front door.
Because you told me that she went on a play date with the girls, and then
That's what she told me.
Addie said you told her that
Yeah, she went with some friends she went to go to a friend's house with the kids. That's why I knew they weren't at school.
Addie said you told her that she left in the middle of the night.
Oh no, she didn't leave in the middle of the night, no.
Yeah.
Where do your kids go to school at?
Primrose in Vista Ridge.
Danny wants to talk to you.
Okay. Hey. Yeah.
Is any of her clothes, anything like that missing?
Not in old school, not both if there's anything, I mean,
It didn't look like she went through and packed up
no, I mean,
a bag
she
or
has
anything.
This and all that on the bottom, so it'd be kind of hard to tell if she took a little bit, or I mean, it'd be easy to tell if she took a lot, but it's hard to tell if she took a little bit or not.
Okay. She tell you anything about leaving, moving out?
Not moving out. I mean, the last time I talked to her was this morning. She said she was going to take the kids to a friend's house, and that's where she was going to be. And then I've texted her today. I've never heard anything, but the car's here. Car
Right.
seats are here. Unless somebody came and picked her up. But the people that I know, nobody's heard from her. Nobody's seen her.
Right.
So after they searched the home and talked to Chris, the police went over to the neighbors to review the security footage, and this basically disproves what Chris is saying. Also, the neighbors were pretty close with the family, and they pointed out that Chris was just acting extremely weird. And at this point, the police kind of knew that he was acting strange. Um, but I will play the clip of when they go to the neighbor's house.
His info real quick. No.
He's never fidgety, he's never rocking back and forth, and if you look, he never loads his stuff in and out of the garage ever.
Right.
And it doesn't look like he came from right here, it looks like he came from down the street. And then the other thing that doesn't make sense is why would he pull past this part? You can see him pull past.
Are you able to record this?
I'd have to call Comcast so I can get him to do whatever. But watch, you'll see him get out. And he walks back and forth a couple times. To be completely honest with you, my wife and I were kind of wondering when she was on vacation if something happened, because I've heard them full out screaming at each other at the top of their lungs, and he gets crazy.
Does he? And that's pretty recently.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's why she went and visited people, is because she wanted to get away from the situation.
Do you have your ID handy?
So in that clip, you can see what I was saying about how he was saying that Chris wasn't acting right. And also, he started telling the police about the fights that they were getting into, contrary of what was being posted on social media. You could, the breakdown of their marriage started to happen. And that was before Shanann went on that trip, as you could hear her neighbor saying. So then Chris went on Denver 7 to talk about his wife and girls disappearing, and everyone that has seen this, that I've seen, says that this video, this clip of him just talking about what happened, and it's just very sketchy. Personally, I think that he did not think that they were going to start searching for Shanann and the girls as soon as they did. I think he had thought he had time to get his story straight and time to work out some details, but they started right away. Like, people started noticing that she was gone right away. Especially her, which I believe it was her best friend, started noticing and went to the house. And I don't think Chris knew that, people were going to notice right away. He didn't have time to get his story together. So I'm going to play a little bit of that interview um, from the Denver 7 interview that they did. And also, you could kind of tell too, like the police, the media, they kind of questioned him pretty soon after he started trying to explain what happened to them, to the police, and then also the things that he said um, in the interview were just weird. So here's that clip.
They're doing their best right now to figure out like if they can get a scent and see where they went. If they went on foot, they went in a car, or they went somewhere. And right now it's just like they've been on point. They're going through the house trying to get a scent, and hopefully they can pick something up to where it's going to lead to something.
What happened? Your wife came out and
She came home from the airport 2 a.m. and I left around 5:15. She was still here, and like about 12:10 in that afternoon, her friend Nicole showed up at the door. Like I had texted Shanann a few times that day, called her, say but she never got back to me. But she wasn't getting back to any of her people as well, and that's what really concerned a lot of people. Is like if she's not getting back to her, like if she doesn't get back to me, that's fine. Like she gets busy during the day, but she didn't get back to her people, which was very concerning. And Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home, and then walked in the house, and nothing was vanished. Nothing was here. I mean, she wasn't here. The kids weren't here. Nope, nobody was here.
What's your wife's name?
Shanann, Shanann.
What's your kids' name?
Bella and Celeste.
How do you spell Celeste?
Celeste.
How old are your daughters?
Bella's 4, Celeste is 3.
And so, how many times did you try calling her?
I called her 3 times, texted her about 3 times just to say, what's going on. Like because after I called her and texted her once, it's like maybe she was just busy. Like she had just gotten back. Like everybody's probably calling her from her trip. She just got back from Arizona, and I figured she was just busy. But when her friend showed up, that's what it was like. It registered like, all right, this isn't right.
Do you think she just took off? Do you think?
I mean, right now I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. But I mean, could she just taken off? I don't know. But if somebody has her and they're not safe, like I want them back now. Like that's what's in my head. Like if they're safe right now, they're gonna come back. But if they're not safe right now, that's the not knowing part. Like if they're not safe, last night I had every light in the house on. I was hoping that I would just ran over by the kids running in the door and just like barrel rushing me, but it didn't happen. And it was just a traumatic night trying to be here.
I'm gonna ask some kind of tough questions. Your relationship with your kids.
My kids are my life. I mean, those smiles light up my life. And this, like, I mean, last night, like, during, like, when they usually eat dinner, it was just like, I miss them. Like, I mean, I miss telling them, hey, you got to eat that or you're not going to get your dessert, and just like, you're not going to get your snack after. I miss that. Like, I miss them, cuddle up on their couches. They have, like, a Minnie Mouse couch and a Sophia couch that they cuddle up on and watch, Bubble Guppies or something. And it was just like, I was... It was tearing me apart last night, and I needed that. I needed that last night, and for nobody to be here last night and to go into their...
So, yeah, I definitely want to know what your thoughts are on that because to me, it's like that's the not knowing part. And like, what do you mean? You know where they are. Like, you know what happened to them. Um, and then he turns the whole conversation on how he's feeling. Like, why not get on there and I mean, obviously, we know that he knows exactly where they are and exactly what happened. But like, why not get on there and be like, please, like, come home or I miss you and I love you and things like that. Not not get on there and talk about how traumatic that night was for you because they weren't there. I don't know. It's just really, really weird. But moving on. So on August 15th, they bring in Chris for questioning and they give him a polygraph test, which he failed the polygraph test. I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on polygraph tests. I definitely am not. But I do know that they are not 100% like foolproof. Um, and that they they're not used like in court to prove anything because of the fact that you can fail it and like not have anything to do with it, or you could pass it and you do have something to do with it. It really, they're really not that reliable from what I've heard. Again, I'm not an expert on polygraphs. So Chris refused to talk until he talked to his dad. And then when his dad came in, Chris started throwing Shanann under the bus. He told his dad that Shanann had killed the girls, and when he killed Shanann, it was in a fit of rage. Chris tells police that after he told Shanann he wanted to separate, he saw Shanann on a baby monitor strangling Celeste. He ran in, and Bella was already on her bed, blue and dead. He went into a fit of rage and strangled her to death. Now, I just think that's a terrible, terrible thing to do. You're gonna like throw your dead right under the bus. The wife that you killed, you're gonna throw her under the bus and blame her for for what, a lighter sentence? Like that just makes me so, so angry. So then the police asked where the bodies were, and Chris said he loaded all three bodies into the bed of his truck and he took them to his work site. Shanann was in a shallow grave, and he dumped the girls' bodies into an oil tank on the site. Then police used a drone at 4:15 p.m. on August 15th to investigate the work site. They found a sheet matching the pillowcase that they found at the house. They also found dirt moved in a way that was consistent with making a shallow grave. And at 11:30 p.m. that night, Chris Watts was arrested for 3 counts of murder and 3 counts of tampering with the deceased body. On August 16th at 2:30, Chris appeared in court in the Wells County where he was denied bond. And then also on that day, Shanann's body was found in the shallow grave. On August 17th, the bodies were positively identified as Shanann and the girls. The autopsies were done, and the cause of death was asphyxiation. Shanann had bruises on her neck, where Chris had strangled her. And then that Friday on at 8:30 p.m., um, a visual was held for the girls and Shanann. And then on Monday, August 20th at 4 p.m., Chris was officially charged with 3 counts of murder in the first degree, 2 counts of causing the death of a person under the age of 12 while in a position of trust, 1 count of unlawfully termination of a pregnancy, and 3 counts of tampering, with a deceased body. On Saturday, August 25th, the obituary was posted and revealed that Shanann was going to have a boy, and his name was going to be Nico Lee. And then on Wednesday, the 29th, a man named Trent Bolt came in and claimed that he had a romantic relationship with Watts for 10 months. However, I don't think that there was any evidence to prove that. And sometimes people will just try to like be part of a case and they'll come in with information that isn't true, which is completely terrible to do because then it totally could throw off the whole investigation or just create chaos and put resources in one area where they could be really focusing on something that is true and focusing on another area. So, but yeah, so then on September 1st, a memorial was held for the three of them. And then September 4th, Chris was denied bail and ordered to wait in jail and placed on a suicide watch. And then September 7th, Shanann's brother Frank took to social media to thank all of those who were supporting them through all of this. And then on November 6th, Chris Watts pleaded guilty to all charges he was facing. November 14th, Chris Watts' parents spoke out, claiming their pregnant daughter-in-law would have been more than capable in killing the two girls, all of whom their son had pled guilty to killing, which is just terrible. I mean, your son's already pled guilty to killing them, and just the relationship between Shanann and her in-laws just sounds like a very toxic relationship. And of course, they're going to continue with that story and keep throwing Shanann under the bus. And in response to this, Shanann's parents said that the lies about their daughter are vicious, which they really are, and they are willing to protect her name. So on November 15th, this is when Nicole comes forward after the arrest, and it was discovered that Chris was having an affair with an unknown woman. Nicole said she had no idea who he was and that he was capable of until it was too late, which I kind of think she had an idea of the fact that Chris was married still and was lying to her, but she said that when she first noticed Chris, he was very soft spoken, and she noticed he wasn't wearing a ring and found him attractive. She said Chris was a liar, which we all know is true, and he had told her that their divorce was finalized in July. She said that she had gotten a text from Chris on August 13th and said that his family was gone and that Shanann had taken the girls on a play date and they never returned. So then on November 19th, Chris was sentenced to 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole. And on February 2019, there was an interview with Chris while he was in prison. Chris told the whole truth. Again, this is according to him, but at this point, I would believe the story way more than his original one. I mean, he's already in jail, in prison, and so I think this is the closest to the truth. I mean, at this point, he has nothing else to lose or hide. So he said that there were issues in their marriage. He started an affair, and when Shanann got home from a business trip, she initiated sex. He felt like it was a trap or a test and theorized that at that moment was a trigger moment, like you hit a rush button on a bomb and it just blows up. I think this is in a way him trying to not take responsibility for what he did. Um, but anyway, so they fell asleep after sex and he woke up a few hours later to get ready for work. He woke up his wife um to talk about, the wanting to divorce and separate. And he he straddled her in the bed. In 15 to 20 minutes, this conversation lasted in which Shanann cried and she knew there was someone else. And I think, honestly, I think just a woman's intuition, you kind of know when there's someone else in the picture. But of course, Chris denied the affair, but I think Shanann knew. She knew, and I think she knew for a long time. I think a lot of it has to do with denial. You do not like you don't think that this person's capable of doing that to you. However, I think she's known for quite a while that there was someone else. But like I said, Chris denied the affair. He said that he just didn't love her and they were no longer compatible. So Shanann, out of anger, said you will never see the kids again and to get off her because he was hurting the baby. And he said he snapped and put his hands around her throat and strangled her. Um, and Shanann saying this, people say things out of anger all the time. And especially if, she's feeling hurt. She knows that there's someone else. Chris is still denying it. He says that he doesn't love her. Meanwhile, she's probably still in love with him. She's hurt, and so she probably wanted to hurt him. in the way that he was hurting her. It doesn't make it right, but I think she probably just said that out of anger. And so he says that the thought of killing his wife was implemented in his mind and he had no control over it. Again, I think this is just him trying to not take responsibility for his actions. And that manually strangling somebody, that takes time. It's not something that is just quick, like you shoot a gun and you shot somebody. That's something that takes time to manually kill somebody with your hands like that, strangling. And he said Shanann never fought back or screamed. Um, then Bella came in and asked what was wrong with mommy. He told her mommy didn't feel good. And he wrapped Shanann's body in a bed sheet, dragging her down the stairs to put her in his truck. His daughter watched the whole thing and kept asking if mommy was okay, which is just heartbreaking. I mean, imagine watching this happening to your mom. That's that just I can't believe what was going in her head as her dad was doing this. So his daughter watched the whole thing, like I said. When Chris came back inside, Celeste was waking up. So he took both girls out and put them in the back of the truck on the bench seat. They brought a blanket each, and Celeste brought a stuffed animal. At this point, he put a gas can in the back of the truck and was planning on killing himself when he dumped Shanann's body, but decided not to do this because he didn't want to hurt more people if something would have caught fire and exploded. Honestly, I just think he was a coward and didn't want to die. Once they got to the site, the girls had dozed off, and at this point, Bella remarked, "Daddy, it smells." When they get to the site, Chris pulled her body out and laid it where he would eventually bury it in the shallow grave. Both girls asked what he was doing to mommy. He returned to the truck and he said Cece was first. He strangled her with a blue Yankees blanket as Bella watched, not saying anything. Investigators asked what he was thinking at this as this was happening, and he said he wasn't. If this would have never happened if he was actually thinking. After he killed Cece, he carried her over to the oil tank and dropped her in. One thing I want to mention too is the opening to the oil tanks were really small. So he really had to push their bodies into those tankers. And when they were found, they had cuts all over their body from being pushed into there. So he walked back to the truck, and Bella asked what happened to Cece and if the same thing was going to happen to her. He said her last words were, "Daddy, no." And he also said that um, it's probably not going to be in the same words as he said it, but he also said that they basically that those words haunt him, and good, they should haunt him. He should be sitting there thinking every day about what he took away. But he blames his pent up anger against Shanann, and that is why he did this, which just pisses me off. So, as of now, he's still currently serving time at the Dodge Correctional Facility, which is a maximum security prison in Wisconsin. So, so that is the Chris Watts case. Um, and I would like to know everybody's opinions on this case. Sorry, my nose itches. And yeah, so that it was just a really hard case to get through. And um But, and I hope that he sits there and every single day he thinks about what he did. And I hope it haunts him because they did not deserve this. They were beautiful, especially his two little girls who didn't even live long enough to have a full life. It just, or a childhood. Just really, it's really hard to think about this case. But yes, so he is still in that facility and he will be there for the rest of his life. So that is it for me today, guys. And um I hope that you liked my video. And if you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and on Apple Podcasts, rate and review, and same on Spotify. And yes, so all of the links will be in my description box below. If you have anything that you want me to talk about, feel free to email me. That'll also be down there. And my Patreon account will be down there. So yeah, so check out all those links. And until next time, and bye everyone.